Welcome back here to the HGC Crucible with our Open Division team, Imported Support, facing off Naventic, number 8 in the Pro League, fighting for their tournament life.
Yeah, I thought about this, right? Use hashtag HGC right before we left. Listen, I bet there's a lot of people that tuned in. They saw EU, they see NA, they see Naventic just body Imported Support, go up 2-0, and they're probably like dipped away. Go ahead and use the hashtag HGC. Do whatever it is. Bring everybody that thought, it's not going to be that competitive, because this is shaping up to be one hell of a series. We are 2-2 after what looked like Imported Support was outclassed. They found their stride. They go back to what they know works. No more of these early Genji picks. They go back to what's worked for them in the Open Division. It's what got them here, and they have looked really good since then. And
that map pool is getting smaller in these best of 7s. That's a big part of the story as we go to Game 5. We are going to be going to Dragonshire, Imported Support's pick since they had that win for the map. And as we get to these smaller maps, these 2-lane maps, these Dragonshire might be 3 lanes, but it's still smaller. You gotta start thinking about the Chagall again. Nazebo rising to power on a map like Dragonshire as well.
I want to talk about one thing, okay? And it's been ever since Game 3. Now, first off, Tahaka's 4-0. But either way, Game 3, they decided, you know what? B-Kid on Muradin, right? That's how a lot of Warrior players made their name, because Muradin was so dominant. He's been dominant for a long time. But B-Kid has struggled a little bit on other heroes. And now we see first bans on Muradin the last 2 games, forcing B-Kid to do something else. And so far, he hasn't been able to make the same type of plays. And, we saw him fall back on Varian. We haven't seen that diversity. We saw Leoric. We've just seen weird picks so far. I got a feeling we're going to see the exact same thing. Imported Support is targeting one player right now, and it seems to be working.
That's a very common thing to do, in these kind of competitions, right? That's the power of, banning in these types of games, seclude that hero or that player in this case from them. And, they've banned Muradin 2 games. Those are the 2 games they won, making the difference. Also, you mentioned Tahaka. Muradin was a big part of their success rate earlier, but have they gotten you said he won all 4 games, right?
2 for Naventic,
yeah.
2 for Imported Support.
That's crazy.
The other thing is, and again, if you're targeting players, okay, the Aware was known for playing Ariel, so much so that people were first banning Ariel against Imported Support.
In Open Division, that was very common, yeah.
He's been making quite a few plays, and when he has that hope generator that he's had, those heals have been astronomical. They've kept him in some fights that most other healers and combos won't happen.
After the fact of Game 4, we looked at the total damage done of Lunar Li Ming. About 160,000 damage done there. That's
not too bad.
That's pretty okay. Generates a fair bit of hope for Ariel in the end game.
And Li Ming didn't go dominance, right? She was able to be kept alive by the team that was around her and ended up going Charge Blast, getting more of those blow-up potentials, and it worked. But the aggression that we saw, generally you see dominance because you get the heal when you get the reset. Not needed. Just not needed.
Okay, so we got to talk about Dragonshire, the next map. We'll be starting the draft soon. But Nazebo, he's a late game here because you know that this map is gonna go long. Where do you think he's gonna sit in this early stage of the draft?
I don't want to see it early, right? If your first pick, it's definitely if your first pick, you can potentially pick it up during the second rotation before the second ban. And look at that, just what we talked about. This is going to be Ariel ban on the side of Naventic. Said the Aware, no more Ariel for you. And on the side of Imported Support, are they fearful of giving up an Uberak? And that is a hero. Jake, I looked through a lot of Naventic drafts. An Uberak does not hold the same priority for them. Oftentimes, it would be like first rotation, first pick by the other team, or if they had their first pick, they prioritize different heroes. An Uberak was not something that was as prominent in Naventic drafts as it's been for other teams. See if Imported Support's done their homework, man.
Yeah. I wonder if they stick to that Muradin, though.
I would much rather. I love it. I am a fan, but Naventic, we've seen high priority on Cassia for both teams, especially first pick.
Actually, yeah, that's a few games in a row now where we've seen Cassia just super high prio. And it seems like it'll be... give it up this time. They go for Kemma Comfort.
They're trying to choke out supports, right, from the Aware. You have Rhaegar to fall back on, and right now, because you're second pick, you get 2 picks within the next ban phase, right? So you've now banned out Ariel, and now you've picked up Malfurion, 2 of the best supports in the game. Now you have to wonder, will they ban out another support? Does that force your hand to draft a support in this first rotation, right?
You've only got 2 picks, yeah. If you're worried that you need Rhaegar, he is not an optimal first grab by any means, but a noob is open, so they've got that victory at least.
Noob is open. It'd be really hard-pressed to see them go away from that. You know, we haven't seen them prioritize Greymane since the first few games. There's a Nubarak, and there's Zarya.
Zarya, in a way, alleviates some of the support pressure needed, so very smart, because Lucio, not too common anymore.
I mean,
becomes a bit
music's pumping, but
becomes a little bit more viable with Zarya. Same deal for Karazim, if you feel like you're forced into those spots.
But okay, so again, Nazeebo, where does he fall, right? Generally, he's not going to be ban worthy, but you now still have to look at Dahaka, Falstad, Nazeebo. All 3 heroes that late game will excel on this because you have the globals, late game globals on this map are really, really strong. And then, you know, the fact that you have that power available to you. And then Nazeebo, post 20, getting those vial infection stacks. Terrifying.
They're going back to the Genji. Dahaka, brilliant solo laner, brilliant for the fights, everything. You know, his kit's amazing, the synergy with Malfurion's roots, but Genji, I do like him a lot in this map. Crazy mobility, although he hasn't seen a lot of success, he can rotate in a blink of an eye and be on top of you and turn the tide.
Yeah, and it's a huge shift in the macro strategies that we've seen from teams, and that it used to be all about the solo lane top, and then you'd have your 4-man somehow either split or try and control that bottom lane. Instead, we've seen heroes like Zeratul rise in prominence to rotate between there. We've seen heroes like Muradin be that flexible one that goes between mid and top or mid and bottom, so you can kind of flex that in. With Zarya, it gives you that strong, you're going to have to go solo DPS in the bottom lane. We might see another triple warrior setup like we've seen from them before. Maybe a Leoric will be in that top lane. I really doubt if they go Nazeebo, that takes care of your solo laner, and that can take care of making sure that you have another strong hero to pair with Zarya in that bottom lane. So we're going to see what route they go with. Instead, they ban Nazeebo instead. Means they're definitely, oh man, they're committing a top laner.
All right,
that I just
here's
wonder
the moment.
if it'll fit.
If they're going Chagall, it's now. We've seen them do this double warrior Chagall. We've seen them play it with heroes like Rhaegar, who is still on the table. Wouldn't Naventic grab Rhaegar? Probably not.
I hate to say it, but after what I saw in Open Division, I want to see it. I mean, you basically resign a Nubarak to your solo laner, but that's not the worst option.
You're still worrying about Curse Bullet. You're still worrying about Tychus, Thompson in particular.
Again, there's so many threatening things on the other side.
But this is important support, and this is what they do.
It is what they do. I hope they don't, but you got to start looking at solo laners. Sonya, Leoric, Ragnaros, potentially Zagara, and Falstad. Those are kind of the top of the heap. And you got to think, do you want another strong frontliner, or do you want somebody who might be vulnerable to picks? Or do you save it and flex it since you're going to have last pick?
Top of the heap. I like that, J-Hal. Lunara and Leo. Leo potentially going to be dealing with a Dahaka to the best of his ability in the solo lane. And, you know, they're just feeling warm on that Lunara. Keep it going.
All right, you already have Genji. We saw what happened when they struggled with wave clear early. They need that frontline hero. Now, you start to look at Zarya, Nubarak, Leoric. They're not exactly blow-up targets. So Varian, you know, we see him try to isolate that front line. Arthas is something that just does not exist for B-Kid. I'm pretty sure that if he has games, it's so minimal I don't recognize them, because when it's been played, Zuna has prominently played them. You know, we still have Tyrael as an option if we go that route, but the banning of Muradin most games now makes all warrior picks questionable decisions.
They're going to go for the Johanna.
Solves the wave clear.
And Tychus for Topster.
About damn time.
Feel like Rhaegar could be an Uther. You don't have a lot of stuns. I mean, obviously you got Roots and Dahaka. JoJo if she opts to go Blessed Shield. So you do have targets depending on Uther's level 7 talent what you want to go with. It's got to be between Rhaegar and Uther.
I like the Uther a lot versus Genji in particular, right? So you've got the lockdown to deal with
the
him.
hammer. Are they feeling confident?
I think both are great picks.
They're just going to come out and shock us all. Pick Bright Wing. I won't know what to do with myself.
Would be a little odd. Karazim would make a little more sense than that, for sure. This is tough, though. I mean, you think about the pros and cons, and yeah, Rhaegar gives you a little bit more damage and clear. But Uther, you know, is this a composition where you desperately need cleanse?
No, man.
Not really. You could actually, I mean, yes, there's a drag, there's the roots, there's the blessed shield, there's big threats there. But the armor is so valuable that you can get at level 7, and you can give it to your whole team. And I like the Uther pick a lot.
The Uther pick, I think, makes a lot more sense than Rhaegar. I mean, Rhaegar wouldn't have been a bad option at all. But
right.
I like the Uther pickup just for a lot of those reasons that we just talked about. So we'll see how it works out for them, not getting their comfort. Malfurion, obviously, first pick for Naventic. Surprising there. Ariel banned out. As we talked about through the first few games, banned out so many times against the Aware.
You know, we were just talking about, you know, kind of targeting B-Kid. You know, you target Muradin, you target Warriors. Well, who's the big issue for you right now? The Ariel is putting out infinite heals in every game. If you think that's something you can target, grabbing Malfurion might not seem like, you know, the big playmaker hero, but Malf's amazing.
My problem, I don't want to be too harsh, right? Johanna is a very safe warrior. It's hard to be bad, right? You have Iron Skin. So, oh, I messed up. I'm in bad positioning. I use Iron Skin. It's not always going to be there, but it's on a short enough cooldown. You have Condemn, you have Blinds, you have Blessed Shield. You have all of these options available to you. Post 20, you have Indestructible. It adds to the wave clear, but B-Kid is known as more of a playmaker-style warrior that fits into Naventic's play style as well. Johanna's not necessarily known as being that playmaker, and that really makes me question not only his hero pool, but how that fits into their team dynamic. And to me, that's a big issue, because Naventic, for as long as they've been together, with Zuna there, attack, 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 make plays. We saw the combos that they had in the first few games with Muradin. They comboed everything off of that. And we haven't seen the same team since then because it's been banned out.
Well, Johanna, it's not a bad map for We'll B-Kid does. We are ready to hop on in to game number 5 on Dragonshire. And in the blue, that is Naventic. Once again, Ken on the Malfurion, that first pick in the draft. Then B-Kid on Johanna. Zuna's going to be on the Dehaka here. Tychus will be Thompson, and then Big Impact on that Genji.
They just musical chairs for who's playing Genji on the side of both teams here. But on the other side, it is the Aware who's going to be on Uther. Crux, we say his name often, going to be on Anubarak. Swabs on Leoric. Ignition on Zarya. And lastly, Special T on the Lunara.
Now in that last game, we saw Special T on the Li Ming, and he is definitely their ranged carry, you know, for that role. This time around, they're rocking a little different, a little bit more the pseudo warrior. In fact, this is in fact a triple warrior composition with Uther, who's basically a tank but a support at the same time. So their composition is really reliant on big energy for Zarya. Crushing Hope for Leo could be a thing to help with the damage, and then of course Specialty, just putting out the poison damage.
That's going to be the name of the game. They're going to rely on a lot of that damage, and again, it's going to be up to Zarya to make sure that she can secure the energy against this team. That's the name of the game. When you go into these Zarya triple warrior setups, Swabs, Magoo, and Zuna, they're going to have the slowest, most brutal 1v1 in the history of Dragonshire.
The classic. Well, Specialty is going to pad his numbers on the shields there of Johanna. Now it is, again, there's a bit of a obligation for the tanks of imported support to grab additional damage, which is why you're going to see Q build there for Ignition. He's going to do his very best to just absorb all that damage. When it comes to like the guaranteed DPS, that's something that, like, you know, Genji and Tychus don't have to the same extent. They can just turn their attacks off when they see the shield active. And it's going to be a little bit harder for him in that pace. I'm a little surprised they haven't been able to find their position to push forward towards one of these walls. But the rotations from the Naventic have just kept them nice and safe.
I think one of the interesting things that we're seeing out of imported support, again, the Zarya pickup is going to be difficult, as you can see, getting that energy from the towers. The problem is they haven't gotten any energy elsewhere. We see the restraint from Naventic not attacking that. But then you start to look at Anubarak. There's not a lot of spell damage on the other side. Nerubian armor, less appealing. Instead, we see Regen Master. You talk about this being a late game. You can achieve that and then get that big value out of that level 1 talent late game.
Well, 4 just reached for both sides. So far, Leo's doing a great job dealing with that solo lane, the change, losing primal aggression at level 1 for the Haka. Doesn't make him as dominant as he once was. And wow, nice Q there coming out from Lunara, getting the damage in, applying that poison even further with her W, activating that. Be aware, just trying to put the pressure on the Biggie, force more heals out of Kenma, but the mana pools are all still quite good on the side of Naventic.
Yeah, the level 1 questing talent for Uther, not too shabby as he continues to spread that W around. Good positioning, trying to get the body block by the Aware. That's good, dare I say, awareness of the fact that Ignition knows that he has the shield to allow Uther to be on that front line. Maybe they can get some value there.
All right, Tychus just fell back behind the wall. Don't think he actually tapped the well. No, did not. But they are ignoring a Uber minion. Oh, the minion getting that little arrow into the bum of an Uberak.
Not too bad. Uther's level 4 talent gives you the movement speed when you drop down that hammer. It's not something we see that often, as we see Big E going in, trying to get some damage, Ignition waiting, taking a bit of damage there. He finally uses the shield.
He's got lots of energy, taps the well, looking for the re-engage here. Now this is the moment where they actually have a good potential to actually take a fight since the energy's at full. A lot of free damage from that Zarya that you weren't getting otherwise, but it's just going to be able to force them back. Mid lane is going to be, once again, potential for a Dragon, but with Genji and Dahaka, no chance Crux can slip on him there.
Hey, we talk about this battleground from time to time, and there's going to be certain teams that are just going to try and be aggressive from the beginning. Sometimes it's very dependent on the team composition. And right now, these team compositions don't say, let's fight early. It's just not a thing right now. So a lot of times, you'll see a very macro, passive approach, wait to grab the camps, search for advantages by manipulating the map. And one of the ways to do that is to grab the camp.
Zuna is super low up top. I believe he just used the last of his essence. Swab's got the Drain Hope in right after that burrow. So good on Swabs just being dominant in the top lane right now.
So far, so good. I mean, for what it's worth, Imported Support has had this red beam across the map for quite a while. They're controlling the battleground, but it's very difficult to pick the Dragon Knight up until you can get a pick or two.
Okay, you can see Splintered Spear just kind of going on in. Good damage there from the Lunara, doing as much as she can.
Specialty, low on mana. I'm pretty sure he hasn't tapped just because he wants to save that for when he needs
this damage
and mana.
Specialty should be able to get Kenma. Oh, the heal coming through at the last moment. Too far forward. Grenade finalizing the life and a double kill. They just a little too aggressive from the Lunara.
It's appealing, but it's such a slow kill. And you talked about it, that prime. Oh boy, Moonfire.
All right, he's got the well. But this opens things up. Naventic going to catch up on XP since they will even up the structure count here in the bottom lane. Gives Kenma room to go replenish that mana bar of his since he was very, very low after that last fight. And the game is, well, even with the double kill, still dead even towards 10.
So we see the level 7 talent for Uther is going to be Guardian of Ancient Kings. Now, we talk about silences from Malfurion, we talk about roots, we talk about the tongue. There's a lot of things that can proc that for you to get the value out of that level 7 talent. The problem is, will Uther get caught in the middle of some of that and have trouble, especially the Twilight Dream potentially hitting on top of it?
I'm actually also very curious if he'll go Divine Shield or Divine Storm when we get to level 10 because Swabs is dead here. There's no way he's going to slip out of this one. Oh, whoa.
Drain Hope?
What? I guess Biggie didn't have any shurikens left, so he popped the Dragon Blade because he had no DPS available, and then the Dragon Blade wasn't enough, and that is a long cooldown.
He almost got caught again. He's just like playing
Biggie
with fire. Swabs Magoo just like, it's fine. If I die, trade value.
Trade value. Well, good pressure here. Level 10 also here on the side of big Imported Support looking to, maybe find the pick. They could use that cocoon to some big effectiveness. You see the Dragon Blade used, just turn them into a little web. You see the Twilight Dream being attempted or a threat. You just throw a cocoon on Malfurion. Same thing with the Odin. Yes, it can be destroyed. You can release your ally, but still gives you a lot of good utility.
All right, Big E starting to come in, starting to put the pressure on. The shields are there. Now we see Ignition starting to fall back. Pop the shield onto Specialty, who ended up having a flank the other way, is going to stay alive.
Nice expulsion move there from Ignition. Pretty much just denied any kind of approach whatsoever. Dragon once more was being looked at. You see some furious pings at the mid lane where we do have a new Barak in a 2v1, but safe play from Imported, just trying to get control once again. Wave of Light completed.
Yeah, that's definitely very beneficial for Uther, as we'll see added value there. But the Dragon Knight has not been obtained. We're 7.5 minutes in. Cocoon, however, Jake, I mean, it would have been good,
they still have a good position. You have 3 warriors on top of that Cocoon target in the mid lane. And that is Dahaka. That is their focus. The Impale goes out. Zuna gets mega value out of adaptation due to the lack of potential burst, and B-Kid getting in there for the additional support. Lunara
getting caught. That's a deep dive. Tomster and Kenma go in to help confirm the kill. And the remnants of Lunara just disappear there.
Bambi scraps.
3-0 though.
All right. Similar situation before. The drag's here. Dragon Blade comes out. Swabs Magoo walks behind the wall. And lives.
I mean, I guess they're getting some good value on the structures there. Not too bad, but they do have a little bit more battleground control. They've also stretched their experience lead. 3 kills to 0. Give them about 3/4 of a level lead. Not too bad right now.
I find those Dragon Blades to be the funniest, J-Hal.
You mean the most amazing?
Oh, yeah. The most esports. Bottom lane, we do have the Night Camp being grabbed here from Kenma and Tomster just to keep the pressure on. They have been an inseparable pair all game long, and they did find themselves some nice deer meat earlier. In the mid lane, the Dragon is now uncontested, but the collapse onto Crux is good. Forcing out the Cocoon, not enough to save his life. Ignition a little late with the rotation to be able to save him. And you know, Naventic, they just have the better rotations. They're macroing so effectively here in Dragonshire.
I really wonder if Imported Support just kind of outdrafted themselves. They're prioritizing swabs there, as we see. I believe that was the animation for Biggie to finish that. But either way, the Zarya pickup, again, I talked about it at the very beginning of the game. They were struggling. Yeah, the Shuriken Mastery was picked up there. But they were struggling to obtain that energy for Zarya, and now they're getting out-rotated. So you're struggling in the team fights, you're struggling in the 4-man, you're struggling in the 3-man if you're there. You're just having a lot of issues dealing with the composition of Naventic, and it's not working for you.
All right, the Burrow is going to be enough to buy us a little bit of space here. The Dragon no longer a threat as bottom has turned red for the time being. But Genji rotating in onto the mid. Nubarak very low. The Entomb cast locks Xuna in place, but the Burrow available to deny the big value coming in from Drain Hope. Need to be careful here in the bottom lane. The rotation on its way. B-Kid not going to be able to catch anyone out of position here as they did back off just in time.
I'd love to see Imported Support try and force something now. Try and force a fight. I mean, you find yourself a level down, level 16. You know, we're still waiting on the first Dragon Knight. But it seems like Naventic has a very determined strategy in the way that they can control this battleground, where Imported Support seems like they're just trying to figure out what they want to do, and they continually are just responding to Naventic. There's a pick. You're not going to kill Johanna, though.
No, unless you get the perfect expulsion zone. It's very, very tough to find that kill. Top, in the mid, we do see Dahaka on the point. They're not getting the shrine, so that's going to be the first Dragon of the game. B-Kid is being focused down here. Oh, the Entomb, but the Dragon is marching on in. B-Kid throws out that blast. He'll be staying alive with a sliver of health. Does end up falling, but the Dragon going to do a lot of damage elsewhere. Kenma does end up going down, so it's a win on both sides of the map.
I'm so glad they finally decided to force the issue. They gave up a Dragon Knight, but I feel like they might build off of this. You know, they're not going to give up a lot with this Dragon Knight, but they are opening up opportunities to give themselves confidence, to give themselves the ability to try again, to push in. And I mean, you don't want to give up late game Dragon Knights, but no, they needed that.
They did need that, but this will give a quick 16 over to the side of Naventic, which is going to give them a nice window of opportunity. Yes, Johanna just respawned. Malfurion's 4 seconds away before he's back up. Bottom tower going down, bottom fort going down. Will net a strong amount of XP, but still, small quest ahead for them to catch up.
Draining the life right out of that Dragon Knight, as we see Demolition's Expert completed as well. That's a lot of damage, you know, when you start talking about late game, getting the cooldown off of that to really start popping those out.
Yeah, level 20 power of the Q build on Zarya is something you really cannot...
I mean, for what it's worth, it was nerfed a little bit.
Still very good.
Now, you won't just hear the constant Q going off. Pretty close, though.
Okay, 16's here. A lot of big talents. You can see the Drain Hope build of Leoric, you know, just getting to that max power at this point. Enhanced agility just completed there for Dahaka as well.
I really wonder, you know, we saw the rotation and we've seen the heavy impact that Uther wants to embark on. You know, he wants to get in, do that damage. We saw the level 4 talent. Now he's going that Benediction to be able to get in, reset that, drop the hammer on somebody, try and stun lock them, and see if they can get that kill. But as you said, they're lacking a lot of burst damage with this composition, so we'll see if they can pull that off.
Yeah, I think it's better for them in the late game. You think about just kind of some of the heroes they have, like the potential for redemption on Uther, gives you a lot more freedom to play almost just risky in the team fights. They invaded, stole that camp. They keep their camp, denying the invade. Zuna in the back with the expulsion zone, keeps him locked in, forces him to use that adaptation. It will get full value, but that's a big burrow coming in from behind for Crux. Twilight Dream is solid, but this fight is anyone's. Crux is looking to be the first one to fall with that big Dragon Blade diving on in. Leo finally getting the rotation down here. A little bit late. Does he get the Entomb onto that Odin? Oh, barely not.
Short cooldown, but feels bad, man. That was so close. He was going to get dismounted either way, not going to be able to secure that. The Shrines, though, Jake, going to be active in about 10 minutes, or 10 minutes, 10 seconds.
It's going to be a long game, Jay.
It's a long game. Going to be active in 10 seconds, which means they'll have a small window of opportunity if they can control both these or force the action, which is exactly what they're doing by grabbing this camp on the bottom.
I mean, Naventic, they just look fantastic this game. Their macro has been impeccable. They've held on to this full level lead. They're looking at control of both the Shrines once again with the Night Camp pushing on forward. And it's all about finding a pick. If Uther can catch that Genji off guard or something of that sort, could turn the tide in their favor. But Naventic just got to play patient like we saw from them in the first match. And this is their game to lose.
It is, as the first fort goes down on the side of imported support, evening up that bottom lane. As we see the mini-map, though, a lot of those structures are low. Crux going in on the backside, though, Jake.
Yeah, Crux is trying to get that dive in. Tom's tried a beautiful juke there. There is a dragon active here coming on down to the battle here. Now we see the dragon's going to put on some solid damage. Expulsion zone was thrown out in the middle of the fight, but look at the damage on the swaps. Look at the damage on Ignition. Heals from Uther are fantastic, but here comes the Dragon Blade. The stun is there, but Swabs is the first to fall. Genji's going to dive back in, looking at Crux for the next target, but I don't know if they'll be able to lock him down. Divine Shield has been thrown out.
Divine Shield will keep him alive as they fall back to the keep wall. The Dragon Knight already down to 30% as it continues to be assaulted. It's not going to open up too much, but again, another pick begins to distance the lead. We see Odin has been popped, one of the ultimate sieging heroics, as they continue to push their way in here at the bottom.
10 seconds till Leo's back up. That's the power of his trait. Gets him back in the action right quick. You know, he's already here, and that does force the response to back on away. A lot of healthy heroes on the other side. They don't want to fully challenge. Uther's flanking through the top part of the map. You mentioned Cocoon. It's a big play. They're going on to Tomster, but the focus isn't there. Too much damage throwing toward them.
Yeah, Tomster is doing work on the backside as the grenade goes in. The shield there from Ignition going to keep him alive temporarily. Specialty is very low as well. And there's the shield, but down goes. No! Ignition somehow able to walk away from that. Leoric, though, on the backside. Everybody on imported support is so low right now.
Oh, the shields are there to deny big impact. His prize. He's looking for it. Does he consider going in even further? Just taking the wall down for now. Ignition, no well by the looks of it. Has the hearth back, and now this keep will be pressured.
It's going to be pressured. The minions are going to be approaching momentarily. It'll draw some of the fire away from the heroes. As you can see, Zuna eating a lot, trying to eat some of that, allowing his team to posture up to do the damage, but not able to successfully take it down. They have reached 20, though.
I love the play from Naventic. We saw a risk there. The Uther trying to go in for the flank on the top half because he does have that Hammer of Justice. They were hoping to be able to then quickly swap their focus to that target, but it didn't look as clean as it could have there from imported support. That was their window. Pre-24 Naventic, and now Naventic, they just play the map. They wait for that next shrine, 25 seconds away.
Yeah, Apex Predator picked up for Dahaka to make sure to have that cooldown reduction on to that Brush Stalker, which means you're going to have the ultimate control. You're the only global. Now you have it on a very short cooldown. You have 20-tier advantage. Dragon Knight will be picked up, should be picked up by Naventic. And when they do, that bottom keep will fall. We're 17 minutes in. Naventic with 20-tier advantage and Odin looks like a potential core push could come in here for Naventic.
And that's a tough spot to be in. Swabs Magoo, again, he's Leoric. He can die, and you can get away with it. But this time he will be able to survive. Both shrines going to be blue for the moment. Anubarak in position to deny any potential dragon grab as they're just trying to hold out for one more level. 19 has been grabbed. They need 20.
If Imported Support somehow holds on, it's very difficult, especially against the global of Dahaka and the 20-tier threat. They're working their way towards it, just past 19, but the fight now starting to come towards Imported Support. Crux has gone over the wall. We see Dahaka coming in. He has that extra movement speed.
Oh, Zuna is locked in with them. If they can force him to even use adaptation, that would be a nice victory for them. The root's going to be used to zone out. I like the restraint there. Imported Support, if they went down, Dahaka would have just ruined their life. So they rotated up to their mid-4. Very lucky to have that save point to rotate to.
Genji going in. Zuna starting to follow up, but that's just going to zone them out. That's going to allow Tomster, who does have the Odin.
Tried? Yeah, they've got
nice. I was going to say, Tomster in the Dragonite isn't ideal. You'd rather that be somebody else so you can use that Odin to siege up on the keep, on the core, but saved in that top lane momentarily. Getting dangerously close to level 20 as Imported Support. They are holding on.
They're so close. The Dragon is a threat, but they are here with their position. Look at that
20.
kid. 20 has been locked in. We've got ourselves a game once again. That bottom keep still holding on to, so no massive advantage for either side.
Zuna having to use the tunneling claws with his burrow as he continues to walk away. Now the cocoon is out. It's isolated one member. They're starting to follow up. Zuna taking a lot of damage. Expulsion zone has been used, but now we see Odin in return.
Divine Shield denies the damage from the big red button, but Genji popping that Dragon Blade and looking for something to eat. We do see him dashing into the back. Crux over the wall, staying alive. A full retreat here, but the Dragon was successfully picked up behind that battle.
Yeah, that's a big deal. It means that the bottom keep is all but gone here. Odin has already been used. We'll see that disappear in just a moment. The keep will go, but if you are too aggressive as Imported Support, you might lose more than the keep. Let's see how well they can defend here.
Yeah, the keep's dead. That much they know, but they're still going to try to utilize that keep as a defensive point for them since it does a good bit of damage, and the slow, down it goes. Well, still available for them in this battle, so it's still defender's advantage. No matter how you look at it, Naventic has got what they wanted. They're just looking to back away. Put some pressure onto that mid-keep wall.
I love the defense there. The keep was going to go. They're going to rotate up, continue to open up the map a little bit, get a little bit of experience. It's not necessarily that valuable at this point. Zuna's going to have to be careful as the slow onto this.
He does not have adaptation for 20 more seconds. Should have some essence in the bag. Cocoon was thrown out, but they can't find the value. Now Tomster's popped out and doing some big damage once again. The Dragon Blade in 15 seconds as well. So again, a nice safety net window where they don't have to worry about some of those bigger heroes.
The Entomb is locked in. Malfurion, who's used his ice block. They're looking to lay it down. The Aware with the position drops the hammer, but he only hits Zuna instead. Anubarak goes down in the backside. Zuna's now healed up, and they're continuing to push in. Naventic looking for more.
This is the best Genji play we've seen so far. Big E is now popping off. Dragon Blade forces out the Divine Shield to keep Swabs alive, but Big E picks up a double kill regardless with that nice snap on a noob earlier, and then Lunara during the Dragon Blade.
And now there it is. There's the Odin. You siege up with this. It makes for an easy push. Two members are down. They're not posturing up for core, although they're starting to rotate around the keep, which sometimes indicates that you're going in for the kill. They are now going in. They're looking to end it right here.
The momentum was in Imported Support's favor after the two-game turnaround, but Naventic trying to take the series up in their favor to bring it them 3-2.
Indestructible is popped. The Entomb is going to be on a Beacon who's very low, and now the Expulsion Zone has confirmed the kill. One member is down. The shields are holding on the core. They're continuing to push. The Aware looking to drop the hammer on somebody, but he's not able to get it. Right now, Tomster is going to continue to be dismounted by the particle grenades. The Aware does not care if he goes down. He is on it. Actually,
is that a cleanse?
He went Divine Protection. Excuse me, Uther does want to make sure he stays alive.
Wow, okay, so that's a little bit of an overextension, losing Johanna. Not the end of the world. They still got two keeps down, and they still have two forts standing. So when it comes to map control, Naventic large and in charge and, you know, very much in the lead. But this is going to be a Shrine phase without Johanna for 15 seconds. It's not the longest time you have to stall. but it's still a window where we might be able to see Imported Support crawl themselves back in.
Leoric stayed on top, stayed on to the top shrine and held as long as he could against that. Now that's opened up the opportunity. As you just said, we're looking at a 22-minute Dragon Knight
like this call.
with Siege Camp. This is a bottom keep in return that might get pushed down. Remember, you have Tychus on the other side. If he can burst through this, they have the tools to defend here. But we're going to see if they can make it happen as Imported Support starts to push in.
They are against catapults, but as you mentioned, that Siege Camp is going to be a big power push for them here onto the bottom lane. And this is the lane you want to open up since there are 3 Merc Camps. Crux instantly working on this keep. It will fall. How long do they stay? How greedy do Imported get?
They push it. Remember, you have Expulsion Zone and you have Entomb. The Entomb misses, but it does zone them out momentarily.
Yep. Oh, he actually dropped it a little bit there. So now the Dragon Blade is going to be a threat for them in this fight. The Wraith walk away out of that big red button, but Crux solo on the Dragon, just going to try to waltz out of this. There comes a big red once again, and the Dragon is nearly dead.
Yeah, they've got to be careful as you see Specialty returning some of that damage. Despite the middle keep going down, that is not the worst thing, but now we have the bottom lane evened up, which means that this game basically on even ground. So we're now 23 minutes in, 23-22. Although on the other side, for Naventic, you always have the threat of the global of Dahaka. Let's see what Zuna can do when it comes to the next shrine phase and in between before we get there.
Very safe posture. Making sure nobody's doing anything cheeky here on the bottom. The Dragon gets one final smack in onto that mid wall. And it's just going to give them a nice bit of XP. We're going into the extreme late game, which is very common here in Dragonshire. 24 minutes in, level 23-22.
This is such, this is risky, right? If you're Imported Support, what value do you gain getting this fort down? You're basically forcing the issue. Yes, you want to take mid keep, but that's not going to be anything that's going to happen probably ever in this game, because that next Dragon Knight, you're going for game. You're not going to push this in. Catapults, you're just going to have to deal with it. You're just going to have to deal with the catapults. This is a risk that for some reason they're willing to take.
Every grenade of Tomster just seems to hit so many targets. He's got that sharpshooter status for sure with his grenades. Now we have 3 night camps up. Safe camp will be grabbed here for Naventic, and I like this call to go here for the bottom lane because that, again, will put some pressure on. You know you're going to be often postured around the mid, so the catapults aren't the end of the world. You can keep that pushed out fairly well, but this way you at least force a small response before they get ready for the Giants to respawn.
Yeah, it'll force a little bit of a response, but eventually they're going to have to force a response top. Are they going for the... This might be posture. Siege Camp plus Knights at the bottom. You can posture up. You can't end with this, but it might force a response for Dahaka to come down, because if you 5-man push this, Dahaka has to hurt. There's no Brush Stalker opportunities unless he's willing to come in that backside. But we have Knights, Catapults, and Siege Giants pushing bottom lane.
They're taking the gamble. They're going for it. Dahaka has not started a Hearth just yet. He's now backing up a little bit. That is signs that he is looking to retreat. Oh, he's actually going to hang out at the shrine.
Oh man,
they're not committing.
You know, the top keep isn't necessarily threatened to be taken down, but it's not something you want to leave forever up there. Catapults are pressing a little bit. It's not anything game-ending. Leoric was forced to hearth back as the catapults got distracted by the top keep there. 26-minute catapults, level 23. Those shields did not last long.
No. Not at all. And yeah, these Knights are doing work on the top lane, and they cannot respond to it. So deflect on cooldown there for Big E as they take control of both shrines. Leo there to stall out the middle of the map, but this is still an issue. They can't get the top. To deny that, they need to gain control of this mid or this bottom one to deny the Dragon being captured from the Dahaka that's just lingering by mid.
Leoric starting to make his way down. Look for the fight. Catapults eventually will push middle, but now on the backside, B-Kid going in. Biggie going in, but the Cocoon is out onto the Dragon Blade Genji, but first to pop is going to be Tychus.
That is a big win. Specialties being pressured heavily, though, gets just out of range of the Condemned. The Burrow to make sure they can peel from Biggie, trying to flank on the side, but that's going to be a nice drag. A kill for Zuna, 1-to-1 in this fight. B-Kid solo, indestructible has been popped. Big impact. Also, in an extremely bad spot here, does use the jump and then dash away from the Drain Hope coming in. This is a 1-to-1 fight, anyone's game, but the Dragon has been stalled out. Top lane, Those knights, the catapults are here. They took down that keep. No keeps remain.
You have to respond. The next catapult will eventually start doing core damage. This is a massive minion wave. The minute this pokes through, you are now going to start taking core damage. Leoric's going to go back. You have control of the bottom shrine. You have to respond to this, and this just lends control to Naventic. Yes, it was a 1-for-1 trade, but now it is going to come down to Ignition and Team to hold down the fort for the while Leoric cleans up.
This is a beautiful position. The Dragons now a big potential here as Zuna could use that Brush Stalker, but of course Crux could step back on into the point. It's going to be Big E that makes it here and picks up
the wave land?
Too slow!
He waited. He tried to time it. Now they give up a 27-minute Dragon Knight. It was obtained 27 minutes in, and now all of a sudden, this looks like potential game ending. What? I don't know the hesitation there. I think he was trying to time it perfectly, and it just did not work. Drain Hope, though, is powerful.
Drain Hope is solid, but this Dragon is it's just a truck full of beef. It's just going to slam onto your core so hard. It's near impossible to stop this push from coming on in. Catapults in 3 lanes. Naventic looking to take the win.
It is chunking it down. The shields are now gone. 5%, 6% per hit. You have catapults in the area, although Biggie's starting to go down quick. You also have Tychus that are there. The shields are gone. The health is gone. And that is Naventic taking game number 5.
Super well played from Naventic there, too. I mean, a lot of close calls, but they definitely had the control for the most part. That one attempt on the core that looked a little bit sloppy is really the only mistake I noticed there.
That wave of light, man.
Just hit W. Just hit W.
I know you want to time it perfectly, but you have to press the button. If that is a very different game. I think they might not have known where the rest of the team was.
Yeah.
You know, they had Tahaka doing what he was doing elsewhere. Leoric wasn't going to be there in time, so he's thinking maybe we can get the interrupt and then the entomb. Instead, they give up the game.
But the pressure is on. I mean, this is a best of 7 to maybe earn your spot in the HGC Pro League or fall out.